Will Joe Calzaghe be the first? Calzaghe, a southpaw, rangy and hard-hitting. Remember how he had Eubank down in the opening seconds when those two met on that full Monty show in Sheffield. Giménez is a tough, ultra-resilient fighter. Comes from the Paraguayan capital of Asuncion. They call him the Bull of Varadero. That's an area of that capital city. But 37 is getting on, Glenn.
Yes, you would think he's starting to slow down, so we can't really expect him to be as quick as Calzaghe, but he is very, very durable, very experienced.
Very tight defense, gloves up. Hard to penetrate, and Calzaghe may need to be patient here. Welsh anthems ringing around the arena in the land of song. Good body shot from Calzaghe. One of the bookmakers this morning had him as a 12-1 on favourite to retain his title here.
He's not taking anything for granted. He's still giving Giménez respect with a nice cluster of punches here.
Trying to bring the guard down with body punches, Calzaghe, to leave the head as a target. Really getting some leverage into these. And Giménez has already retreated into survival mode, and we're only in round one.
These are good punches. That was a nice uppercut from Calzaghe there.
The things that Joe's been trying to improve is his use of that southpaw jab. He feels he didn't use that enough in the Eubank fight. One or two people too, nitpicking, have said that he slaps a bit. That was true on the way up, but I think really in view of the way he has been fighting in the last year or so, it is nitpicking a bit.
Yes, I think it is. He's been boxing very well indeed. This is a good start for him. Not getting carried away. He's caught Giménez with some good punches, but he's still using the jab, working the openings.
Body punching, clearly a part of the strategy. He's already dug in a lot around the ribcage. Giménez under some heavy fire. He may need all of that resilience.
Calzaghe has to be careful with the counters. 33 kilos and a half.
Fast, aggressive southpaw with some mega power. Giménez with the red stripe down his trunks from Paraguay. In his fourth attempt to win a world title. Hasn't managed it yet. It's looking a little fleshy around the waistband, Giménez, but he's always had that kind of bull-like build. I remember from the days when he was fighting Ben and Eubank.
Yes, that's right, but I think it's a good ploy for Calzaghe to try and bring the hands down with good body punches. He did do a lot of that in the first round. Now carry on doing that.
Looking as if he wants to pick his punches, not waste too many on the arms and gloves of Giménez. Just look for the shots, bide his time, and hope that he can do what nobody else has done and stop this fella. There are big plans for an American debut for Joe Calzaghe, maybe this summer, maybe on the next Nassim Hamed fight in America, maybe against the IBF title holder Charles Brewer, who recently beat Harold Graham. Had a struggle to do it, mind you. That's in the future. This is now. He has to get this job done first.
He's gone about it the right way. He's just trying to pick Giménez apart with the jab, just make him make mistakes before he steps in with the bigger shots. Giménez been very cautious, nothing really coming back from him.
Maybe Calzaghe just trying to tempt him out a little.
Yes, I think he wants him just to break the guard away a bit, make him try and do something so he'll find holes in his defences.
Giménez, ultra defensive, ultra cautious. You'll know all about Calzaghe's power. He said he'd never watched a video of him. He said, why should I? I've been in with Roberto Duran.
Good body punch from Calzaghe, just trying to get Giménez to bring his hands down.
Among his many problems in there, Calzaghe with a big advantage in power and reach. There is Joe Calzaghe, married with 3 children, and his world title win has got him some riches. He now has a Porsche and a sponsored Mercedes and a bigger house, and there might be more to come.
I think if he carries on the way he's going, there'll be a lot more to come. Very exciting fighter, but he just has to keep winning.
3rd round. Due to go 12, of course, the WBO super middleweight title, recently held by Chris Eubank and then Steve Collins, now retired. Steve never lost it in the ring, of course. He was due to go in with Calzaghe, who has now decided to indulge in some showboating.
I think he's trying mentally to make Giménez do something. He's been very defensive. Calzaghe wants him to come out of his shell, start throwing things to him so he can get him to make a mistake.
But he mustn't lose his concentration, Calzaghe. I think there's an early sign there of frustration that Giménez will not have a fight with him, really.
That's right, he can't lose concentration. He's got to carry on doing what he's doing. The gaps will appear.
Getting in with a body shot. Quite well picked. Not too much by way of aggressive intent from the Paraguayan, but let's be honest, we never thought there would be, did we?
No, we didn't. I think it would do him more harm if he starts to throw punches. The gaps will appear. Calzaghe will be able to get him. He's very much in defense mode.
This man is ranked #1 by the World Boxing Organization. They were insistent that Calzaghe fought him, but he's only had a half a dozen fights or so since 1994 when he fought Nigel Benn, so their preoccupation with him is a little difficult to understand, but there you go. A lot of things are difficult to understand in boxing, aren't they?
That's right, really. Calzaghe can only fight the man they put in front of him. He is the #1 contender. He has to fight this man, so really it's just his business to get him out of the way.
And there's a countering right hand from Giménez. I only mention it because it's one of the very rare punches he's attempted so far. It's all Calzaghe.
Good defensive work there from Giménez, just dipping low.
Oh, big left hand there from Calzaghe, and once again, like a sponge, he absorbed it, the Paraguayan. Thank you very much indeed, Paul. Joe Calzaghe utterly dominant, easily winning the first 3 rounds against a extremely defensive and so far negative Juan Carlos Giménez. from Paraguay. Paraguay will hope that their defence is as good in the World Cup that's coming up.
Yes, he's getting his hands up and he's just completely defensive-minded. And that would be frustrating for Calzaghe. He'll want more. There's always a danger he gets a little bit bored by it and loses concentration. And he really hasn't got to do that.
Might be a long job for Calzaghe, who won his first 9 fights in his pro career inside 2 rounds. And he's almost here as if he's feeling the need to go into this break dancing and disco dancing to kind of entertain himself almost.
That's right. There's always a danger when a fighter does that, because just that momentary lapse of concentration and you can be caught with a good punch.
I've never seen him do that before, have you?
No, not really. Nothing like this, but it's because there's very little coming back from Giménez. He wants more of a fight. He enjoys the fight.
He may be just trying to do something to break Giménez's concentration.
Well, I think maybe he's hoping the macho comes out in Giménez, and he gets embarrassed by what Calzaghe's doing, so he gets him to start working, and then Calzaghe can catch him. It's all part of a learning experience. Calzaghe has to try and get to him. And often fighters will be very defensive, and he's got to try and open them up.
All attempts so far to lure Giménez out of his shell have failed. Calzaghe's been knocking at the door, but there's no one coming out.
Flashy head punches there from Calzaghe.
Well, the odd counter here now from Giménez. Some of these shots being driven through that high-held guard, some being blocked, plenty being blocked, but the body punches seem to be the best route. They are getting in underneath the elbows.
Well, he can protect his tough granite jaw, but it's much more difficult to cover up the body. Bigger target to aim at, so I think Calzaghe's best to try and concentrate on that.
Still, it's all Calzaghe. We've heard what Glenn and I are making of this so far. I wonder if Nicky Piper, who's with us, can give any fresh insights here, Nicky.
No idea what's going on, to be honest with you, Ian, but I do know Joe, if he is struggling with the weight, it's going to be hard pressed to keep this work up for 12 rounds. Giménez has been the distance with everybody so far, and it could be an interesting point. Is Giménez just biding his time with a late onslaught? I think Joe's working well. I think he's a fit young man who can go at this pace, hopefully for 12 rounds.
I think he can stop this guy,
I think
Nicky.
so. I said 5 or 6, and maybe it could go a bit longer, but I think, yeah, I'm sticking to that, an inside the distance win for Joe Calzaghe. When somebody is coming forward and throwing this much leather, there's only so much a man can take, and Giménez at 37 may not be able to last 12 rounds.
Thanks, Nicky. Let's see. 5th round. Joe Calzaghe's been saying in the build-up to this fight that Giménez would not go past 5 rounds. Even bearing in mind that record of no stoppage defeats in 59 fights and 16 years, not to mention another 67 amateur bouts in which Giménez claimed he was never ever on the floor.
Yes, I think it's proven that he's a very, very durable and tough guy. It's Calzaghe's job. He's younger and fresher. He's the champ. He's got to try and break him down with constant pressure.
Durability is one thing, and there is a bit of aggression at last from Giménez. Got through with a right hand, just a little reminder to Calzaghe.
Shows a decent roundhouse right. Calzaghe still has to beware.
Just a little puffy around the face, Giménez, but Hard to see how much damage might be there, because he looked a bit like that when he started, didn't he?
Yes, he did, but the punches are getting through. And, you know, he's just got to keep doing it, Calzaghe. Keep trying to wear him down.
He's doubling up on the jab, Calzaghe. Well, Giménez at least now throwing the occasional right hand. There's another one. He's probably thrown more punches in this round than in the rest of the fight put together.
That's right. Well, it wouldn't be that difficult because he hasn't thrown a great deal of punches in this whole fight.
That's a good cracking left hand from Joe Calzaghe. Just settling down nicely into his boxing, Calzaghe, and it's a chance really for him to show what he can do on the boxing front as well here, isn't it?
Yes, this is better when he uses a jab. It's a good jab that he has, and this will just soften Giménez up, open the defences, and then he's got to try and get his big punches in. Well, I still like to see him keep the body attack up.
He's boxing quite nicely now, Calzaghe's relaxed. There's none of the showboating in this round. Caught by the left hand of the Paraguayan there, though.
Very good, solid jab from Calzaghe.
He should use it more.
Yes, certainly throws it very well. Negative he really is. The last round he did try, did throw a few more punches, did connect once or twice, just to remind Calzaghe he's still there, not to get too relaxed.
This is the 6th round. You do really have to ask yourself why the WBO have Giménez as their number one, don't you?
Well, his record, it doesn't really tally up that he should be in there. There's certainly better people around than him, but they kept ranking him there, and they kept him there, and he's had to have a shot.
Our spies tell us that the Giménez corner were getting agitated with him between the rounds.
Well, you can't really blame them. I'm sure they'd want to see more work. Still get the sense Calzaghe's trying to draw him in. He wants him to do more. That way the defences come open, you can get to your man.
It's a bit of a hiding to nothing job this for Calzaghe after the fireworks of the last few months, isn't it?
Yes, it is, but really it's not his fault. He's in with somebody who's been very, very negative, and you know, he just can't afford to make a mistake. Calzaghe, he's still got to, you know, he's number one contender, Giménez. Calzaghe has to get him out of the way, so you know, he's got to come through with the best performance he can.
It's a nice left cross from Calzaghe, bruising underneath the left eye of Giménez. Only 2 men have ever taken Calzaghe the distance, both of the Eubank family, Chris himself and his cousin, Bobby Joe Edwards. Don't think Giménez is in the Eubank family.
I shouldn't think so. Still adopting these very defensive tactics. Nothing really coming back from Giménez.
The best win on Giménez's record was over Jorge Amparo. It wasn't a bad fight, from the Dominican Republic. Mind you, it was 11 years ago. He also drew with Ronnie the Dragon Essett, who was in a dreadful fight with Chris Eubank, and I'm very, very glad I didn't have to watch that one.
Still good work from Calzaghe. Nice short to the left in close.
Well, still, Giménez offering not much more than resilience and durability, and it is one-way traffic of a spectacular variety, really.
I'm sure the crowd are a little restless. They obviously want Giménez to put up tougher opposition. I think he's very much decided on a safety-first approach, because nothing coming back from him.
Look at that. Look at that. 91-1 on the jabs.
And the fight total so far, halfway through, and one jab landed.
Oh, boy. There's one of the 91.
That's been a very good one. He's used the jab very well, Calzaghe, but still he just can't manage to find the right shots.
Now, Calzaghe has been unable to make his tentative prediction come true, but I spoke to him last night. They had the weigh-in at a local garage where they're sponsoring the fight, and he was saying then he's prepared to do the full 12 rounds if he has to.
Well, I think he'll have realised that this man's never been stopped, so that will always be in the back of his mind. He's doing everything right, giving them everything on my card, and I don't think anybody will agree with that. Anybody will disagree.
The whole world agrees. Oh, that's a really big shot. That left cross, that did catch Giménez. He was a little shaken for a moment there, but his powers of recovery are quite excellent, and he looks like he's got through the crisis. It may be getting to the point where the referee, Mike Ortega, who's witnessing all this at close hand, may feel that if Calzaghe can throw in a lot of unanswered punches, maybe he will step in.
This is good work now from Calzaghe, putting good pressure on Giménez.
A right hand reminder from Giménez. But signs here that Calzaghe may just be beginning to break up even this rock-hard man.
Well, this is a tough guy. Calzaghe just complaining, use of the head from Giménez.
Another very heavy-handed left wicked right into the ribcage. Calzaghe mixing it up. He's doing nothing wrong here, is he, Joe?
It's a very good performance from Calzaghe. Doing everything that he has to do, mixing the punches up well. It was a very good right to the body went in, which just had Giménez wincing. But it's going to take this sort of pressure to wear him down.
Giménez rather lunging in and glad to just tie up Calzaghe and buy a few seconds. Can Joe Calzaghe of Wales become the first man in 60 fights to stop Juan Carlos Giménez? I say 60, some people think he's had over 80, but the official record book says 60. Quite hard sometimes to keep a check on fights going on in the wilds of some of these South American countries. Another big left hand. Calzaghe starting to land quite a lot of these now. Big shots, and still they bounce off the man from Asuncion, Paraguay.
Well, he's doing the right thing, Calzaghe. If he's not going to throw shots back, he's just got to stand over him and just keep firing them in there. And that was a good round. He really got through a couple of times with some crunching punches.
I tell you what, that was so one-sided, that round. I've scored that 10-8.
Very well could have been a 10-8 round. It was all Calzaghe, big punches. There was a couple of times he just seems as if he was starting to get through.
And while this is going on, the referee's just gone over to the Giménez corner to have a word. He's taking a closer look at Giménez now, and you wonder really how much more he'll see. Now, are they worried about him in that corner? Might they pull him out of here? This is going on now. The bell goes. They're very slow to get out, the cornermen, Tony Rivera and his team, and I thought just for a second there that they might be pulling Giménez out of the fight, but no.
Well, it was a very one-sided round, and I think Calzaghe has just got to do a similar thing in this round, just really go for broke.
To be fair to the promoter Frank Warren here, I don't think he was that keen really on Giménez as the opponent for Calzaghe, but the WBO were absolutely insistent.
That's right. Frank Warren obviously knew what he was going to bring to the fight and thought, you know, Calzaghe wants better fights than this.
But I can't really think of anything you could criticise Calzaghe for here.
No, you can't. And I think you've got to really say that this is the amount of respect that fighters have for Calzaghe, that really he's doing nothing. So defensive-minded. He's the #1 contender in the world, you know, and he's not doing anything.
Calzaghe, who is the 9th world champion to come from Wales. The list that reads Jim Driscoll, Jimmy Wilde, Percy Jones, Freddie Welsh, Howard Winston, Steve Robinson, Robbie Regan, Barry Jones, and Calzaghe himself, who starts to get through again here. Very swollen now around the face and puffy. Giménez, you certainly cannot, I don't care how absorbent you are, be allowed to carry on taking heavy shots like that ad nauseum.
That's right. Every fighter is going to wilt under pressure, and you know, every man can be hurt. I remember watching Roberto Duran, thinking, you know, he was so tough, and then Tommy Hearns finally got through, and that was the end of it.
I'll tell you something, if this was not a World Championship fight, I think it would have been stopped by now. It's that one-sided.
Yes, it would be. It's just a one-horse race at this point. And Calzaghe just has to keep on going until he can get him out of there.
Calzaghe looking for the openings. It's almost like Giménez, through all the years, has just learned to know when to throw a punch or two back, or throw a bit of leather back just to dissuade the referee from stepping in and stopping it.
That's right. He just, after a while of getting hit and caught with shots, he comes back with something.
Left himself open there. And sometimes Calzaghe must feel as if he's throwing punches against the side of a mountain. And while all that goes on, here are some new observations from Nicky Piper. Nicky.
Well, that was a tired round in from Joe Calzaghe, whether he was taking a break. I think he's feeling the pace now. Right at the time when Giménez is ready to go, he's got to keep the pace up. He's going to get Giménez out of there. Really, both men are very, very tired. And I disagree. I think Giménez has been a good opponent. No other super middleweight in the world could have stood up to this pressure. I mean, these shots are tremendous punches. He's given the crowd great value for money, and it's given a good test to Joe Calzaghe. Can he be the first to stop him?
Yeah, a good opponent, a resilient one, but a good one?
Well, I don't think there are many opponents out there who want to face Joe Calzaghe, apart from the other world champions. Can't get them at the moment, so this is a good test.
Yeah, I just wished he brought a bit more than durability to it, though.
Yes, a bit more determination. We may see that now, you never know.
Thanks, Nicky. So here is round 9. And if Calzaghe has had a real battle to make 12 stone, he admits it is a problem. We don't know how severe a problem at this stage. We hope not. It's not too severe, because there's some money to be made for him, of course, as the champion in this weight before any move up. But if he has had a problem, I suppose you might start to notice it around now.
That's right, but generally, if you're doing the hitting, you don't get that tired. It's when you're getting hit back with shots. And Calzaghe's not getting hit back with anything to really tire him.
Like most punchers, Calzaghe's had problems with his hands, sore hands. After the Eubank fight, he needed 6 weeks for them to get back to normal. Gosh, I think he might have some sore hands after this one as well.
I think he will. More importantly, I think Giménez will have a sore face. He took some very hard shots from Calzaghe.
From Calzaghe. Giménez just can't get close enough, even if he wanted to land anything very significant himself. When he does try to do that, Calzaghe just picks him off from range.
Nice chopping left hand there from Calzaghe, showing a bit of everything in this fight.
Picking the punches very well indeed, and he's taking, well, you have to say, a systematic beating here, Giménez, and sometimes you worry about fighters taking this systematic a beating.
That's right, sometimes fighters are a bit too tough for their own good, and fighters like Giménez who have never been stopped. He's obviously been in some tough fights and took a lot of punishment over the years.
Still no sign of Giménez going down or being stopped. Squints his eyes for a moment and comes back out ready to face the next wave of pressure from the eager young Welshman.
Longest spells now without Giménez throwing anything back. Big round for Calzaghe again.
Given Giménez a round yet?
I haven't.
Nor have I.
He's never had really even good spells in the fight. He's just had to take punishment from the beginning to the end. He's just been very, very negative.
288 against 33, and now it is stopped, and Calzaghe is the first man to stop Juan Carlos Giménez, who is retired on his stool at the end of the 9th round. Joe Calzaghe, after 9 utterly one-sided rounds, has his stoppage win and has made a little bit of history there, because nobody, not Eubank, not Ben, not Duran, not Galvano, none of them managed to stop Juan Carlos Giménez, but Joe Calzaghe has done it.